This episode of the Capital G Show has been brought to you by the Titanfall lore. The critically acclaimed FPS that's good enough to cure cancer and make me buy an X-Bone is now in lore form. If you want to be entertained for 60 seconds, the link is in the description. What's up YouTube? Capital G here, DN Duel commentary. I'm switching things up. I'm not dueling this one. I'm just going to start recording really epic duels. We got some really good ratings here, 1867, and I believe that was 1906. If I'm not mistaken, Reed Jordanator is, at this point, he's 7th on DN. I'm 6th. I'm actually 1 point higher than him. And 902, I believe he's like, I think he's 3rd on DN. There's not that many people with 1900 ratings on DN. It's only like 2 or 3. Anyway, so if Reed Jordanator wins, he'll take my spot. He'll take my 6th place spot, and I'll end up being 7th. So we've got Geargia on one side. During his end phase, he activates the very, very stupid Geargia gear, and he's going to MSC. This is actually game 2, by the way. Mermail won game 1. So you see he gets his 2 little Geargias from his deck. He gets Geargiano in Mortal Kombat 2. He's going to make Gear Giant X, and he's going to start searching. I think that he MST during the end phase because he didn't want to fall into a torrential tribute, because if that's Mermaid Bitch and he falls into torrential, it would just be like incredibly bad for him. So he flip summons Mortal Kombat 2. I guess it's if you flip summon it or you normal summon. I know it's when you normal summon it gets its effect. I didn't know it's when you flip summon. So yeah, he goes into Alicord. I'm thinking he's trying to pop the face down and hoping that it's like a spear, because if it's spear and he chains it, then, you know, probably summon Mermaid Bitch, and then he could attack Mermaid Bitch, and then he'd be in like a really good position. It was chain Whirlwind. He can't chain it because, you know, nothing else got destroyed on the field. And now we're gonna see that our Geargia player is just going all out. You know, he's just summoning he summons Arsenal, and then he special summons Accelerator. He's going for a rank 4. Considering he only has 1 card face down, we can probably assume that that's Mermaid Bitch. And if he kills it, then, I mean, 4 cards, Mermail versus this field, they're in a bad spot. So let's see. He attacks, and it's Morphing Jar, and I immediately went to the watchers chat, and everybody was like, troll. Here's the thing that you guys have to notice. Do you see how many cards he still has in his deck? 54. This is a fucking 60 card Mermail deck, and he drew his one of Morphing Jar, and it's like, why is that card even in the deck? I don't understand what's going on. And I asked people, I was like, is he just running one of everything? Because this guy is basically top 5 rank on Dueling Network. You know, now some people are going to use that as a discredit and be like, no, that means he's bad. No! Everybody in the top 10 on Dueling Network is really, really good. We don't play against randoms and stuff like that. Anyways, so 902 is going to load up his back row, put a couple of more cards, a couple more protection cards, you know, probably Phoenix Chains and Soul Drains and stuff like that. He has a loaded field, though. I mean, outside of Dark Hole, he's in a really good spot because, you know, if he tries to go over the top with special summoning, then hopefully, you would think he'd use Abyss Dwell to try and cut off the graveyard. If he set something, then, okay, well, I guess he just scooped it up. So that shut me up. Anyways, you see that they're tied up 1-1, and we're going into game 3. And once again, 60 card Mermail won game 1. I didn't get to record that, but it was pretty epic. You know what I mean? This guy makes Leo a lot, and 902 is no slouch. So he opens with Allure of Darkness, and I'm like, okay, this is Mermail. I know he plays controller, and I'm like, what? He drew his fucking 1 controller out of 60 cards? Like, I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, I'm thinking water. I'm like, okay, well, he can run controller. And then I'm like, what else? You know, I know way back in the day, people used to run like Trags and shit in water. You know what I mean? So that they could use Allure of Darkness, but then they just eventually dropped it. So he sets 2 back row, and then he's gonna set 1 card face down monster. And 902 opens with Upstart, then he normal summons Accelerator, and then he special summons, and I'm immediately thinking he's going into Exiton Knight. And this is one of the crazy things about Exiton Knight, why everybody thinks it's not broken. It's just if you go straight into Exiton Knight, you can punish the fuck out of your opponent for not playing any type of, you know, defense against that card. And unfortunately, his opponent doesn't have any defense. So you see that he hits Fairy Wind, Lightning Vortex, and Linde. So Mermaid Bitch is going to blow up, and then she's going to trigger, and we're going to see what he can do. The thing about Mermail is For you to beat Mermail without completely locking them down, you know, shit like Soul Drain or Kaiser Coliseum, Vanity's Emptiness, you basically have to deplete their hand, because all of the cards, you know, Pike and Abysseus and Megalo, they all need cards in hand to work. Like, that's the way that you beat Mermail. You know what I mean? So if they just have a Gundy in their hand, that's fine because they won't have anything to trigger it. But you see, he summons Pike, and then, you know, the Pike discards Gundy. That gets him another Gundy, and then he gets Mermaid Bitch back from the Gundy. So I'm just assuming at this point he's going to attack over the Linde. You know what I mean? Because if he attacks over Linde, it can't trigger but once per turn. You know, so I'm thinking, all right, well, this is a prime, this is a great opportunity to get rid of that card once and for all. Although I guess technically, since he has the Gundy in hand, he could summon it back next turn. But anyways, I'd want to get rid of it. So I'm like, why not kill the Lind? You know what I mean? It can only trigger once, but I mean, maybe he knows something that I don't. So he sets 3 cards in his back row, and his opponent, Jordy, summons Turge, and I mean, he's just. We already know that he had Gundy in his hand, so he's in an awful position. You know what I mean? Unless he has like a Soul Drain or some shit. So he summons Turge. He's going to pitch the Gundy. He's going to get Gundy back. So now he's just Gundy juggling. He gets Pike. Pike can just pitch Gundy again, but he doesn't pitch the Gundy this time. Now he pitches Marksman. He's trying to pick apart his back row because he realizes if he gets through his back row, he's probably going to win. So let's see what he's doing. He's searching from Pike, and he's going to summon, or he's going to search Undyne, which is a fantastic card. And again, I thought, all right, well, what can he really do with Undyne if he already uses controller? It never really dawned on me when I was watching this duel that he probably plays multiple controllers, and it looks like he's going into a rank 4 XC. I think maybe that's what 902 was trying to avoid, but I still would have attacked the I still would have much rather attacked the Linde last turn and just got rid of that fucking card. So he goes in the 101, Silent Honor Arcs, and he's going to try and snatch steal his Exciton Knight, which is just not good. He has to use Fiendish Chain, otherwise he'll lose his only monster. And if he didn't use that Fiendish Chain, I mean, he'd just start getting beat down by Mermaid Bitch, who's going to trigger if he dies, and 101, which would, I mean, against only 3 cards, would kind of be like unkillable against a gadget deck anyway. So you see, he's in a position to where now he has to find a way around Mermaid Bitch again. He still has the 101 that he can't attack over, and the Fiendish Chain. The Fiendish Chain's a problem because he can't. You know, it adds to the cards on field. It adds to the cards that he controls. So it's actually holding him down from using his what's it called, his Exciton Knight, which it's not like he wants to do anyway because it would just trigger Mermaid Bitch. All right, so. Now, sensing that, you know, he's probably low on defense, he puts Mermaid Bitch in attack, and Lindy tries to crash to get something bigger, obviously, knowing that he has Gun in his hand to just re-trigger it, and she falls into a dimensional prison. So I kind of feel like if he would have killed that Linde earlier when he used Exciton's effect, he would have been able to save that D prison right now, or use it on something better. Anyways, main phase 2, he's going to summon Genix Controller. Or excuse me, Genix Undyne. He searches the controller and he dumps a Dragons in his graveyard. So yeah, that basically told me he's running multiple copies of controller to make that Allure Darkness more consistent. This is where the game just gets bust open. He uses Salvage, and I kind of forgot about Salvage and how good that card is, because it essentially says go +1 and make sure that Megalo's never dead in your hand. You know what I mean? So we're seeing that he put Marksman in the graveyard, and I'm guessing he doesn't want to use that right now. You know, it's looking like maybe he'll just pass, because if he commits too many cards to the field without getting rid of that Exciton Knight will torch the field. So I would say Mermail has a huge advantage right now. We already know that he has Gundy in his hand, he has Marksman in his hand, he has Genix Controller in his hand, and he has Megalo. So he's in a good position. So Exciton Knight is going to nuke the field, which it doesn't put him in a good position unless he draws like D-Fissure or Soul Drain. You know what I mean? Or Vanity's Emptiness. Like, those are pretty much the only 3 cards that I could see right now to where he could actually come back and win this. And you see that he goes for the Megalo summon against 1 back row. Why wouldn't you? Because we already know he has Marksman. Now, he plays Solemn Warning on the Megalo, but here's the problem. Gundy is just going to trigger, and he can summon the Megalo back. So, unfortunately, he can't get over that. And then we see that he's going to enter battle phase. Megalo's going to run over Exciton Knight, and then Genix Controller is going to add 14 on top, and now he's going into Leo. And if you're playing against Leo with 2 cards, you really don't have much of a chance. Especially if you're playing against Mermail and they have cards in their hand. You see during his end phase, he activates Regeki Break and he pitches Gundy. Gundy's going to trigger. That gets him a Megalo from the graveyard. And now it's just like open season. You know what I mean? Maybe if that's armor, he can survive for a turn. Hopefully get something good. He can go into, you know, he can get Mortal Kombat 2 or something like that. But now it's not looking like that because you see he triggers Megalo by tributing Infantry. And he attacks into a Geargiano. His opponent must have thought that he set Geargia armor, which it wouldn't have mattered because Megalo can attack for another 24 and then for another 31. So, yeah, I thought this was a pretty epic duel. We had 60 card Mermail, and, I mean, for the most part, he just pretty much ran through his opponent like he wasn't even there. Let me know what you guys think. Take care.